Oh,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ladies Power Lunch. Thank you so much for joining us. So, here's the deal. I have been away on vacation, and you know what? It's a good thing because I am constantly inviting us all to really take time for our own downtime. And a lot of the things that I invite us to do, I don't necessarily walk my talks. This is one of the opportunities, and I'm always very transparent about that. This was one of the opportunities for me to actually take my own advice and actually unplug. So you might have noticed that we had no show last week, that the week before, the wonderful and amazing Lori actually took over the show and did such an amazing job. Thank you, Lori, and thanks to all our collective sisters who stepped up and were on the show with her. Loved it, loved it, loved it. So today it's Friday and it's time for coffee break. And we have an amazing guest with us. I have George P. Kansas here in the Zoom studios with us. And he is my second favorite um, reflector. And I say my second favorite because I don't know a whole bunch of reflectors, but my dear, dear baby is a reflector. And obviously, he has to be my number one. So, welcome, George. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks to Dawn for hopping on right here in the Zoom studio with us. And I want to say hello to everybody who's joining us over in the Ladies Power Lunch Facebook
thank
group.
you. Thank you, Doctor. It's great to be here. And I want to really reflect and celebrate that you do and did take that time for self-care. It's so important when big voices doing important work. It's a big deal to put your truth out there and to share your message with the world, and that takes energy, and it's important to recharge. So well done, and I want to encourage that, so you'll do more of it.
I really do need to do more of it. And somebody posted something in the group yesterday. I think it was our dear friend Marianne that talked about just really focusing in on that self-care and making time for fun and how that actually helps us to make more money. So hey, there's always truth in these statements. So George, tell us, everybody, I know you, I love you, but everybody in our audience might not be so lucky. So can you share with us, who are you and what on earth are you doing in the world?
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, my name is George Kansas. I'm an author, speaker. My wife, Tracy Trottenberg Kansas, and I have a company called Amazing International. It's a small little community, a growing community of entrepreneurs, spiritually inclined entrepreneurs, we like to say. People who know you have a big purpose inside you, and our purpose is to fan the flames of you bringing that purpose out into the world. And we do this through the exploration of what we call conscious communications, because we know, as a two-time cancer survivor, as a health coach from way back in the 90s, and that's 1990s. That's the last century, for you young people, and that we know that every word we speak creates, and that creates in the world around us. It creates inside our bodies. And so we believe that since every word counts, we ought to get pretty good at using those words carefully, intentionally, consciously. And so we share programs and coaching and a community of brilliant people who explore communicating consciously, actively and proactively. And what greater time to be conscious of our communications than now, when the whole world seems to have something to argue about, something to take a polarizing position on. And what we're passionate about is learning how to express your desires, get your needs met, explore communicating your purpose on this planet, and navigate some of those difficult conversations when the world seems to say it's okay to be polarizing, it's okay to stir stuff up and not resolve anything. It's like everybody wants to fight about something these days. And we know from my personal experience, and have worked with tens of thousands of people, cancer survivors, caregivers, and patients specifically, that those arguments and that language actually has an impact on us. Not just, consider myself a highly sensitive person, of course, and
Of
and
course.
it definitely impacts sensitive people. That's still only 30% of the population. There's still 70% of the people who pretend that it doesn't impact them, but it
Mhm.
really has a consequence. We know this through the cancer statistics and the stress statistics and teen suicide and all these things, that the stress of the polarization of the planet is impacting our well-being. And so uh, it's not hard to connect to this idea that, oh, the conversations that are going on in my head, the conversations that are coming out of my mouth, the conversations that are going around us, we call those the three conversations. It's not a real stretch to get your arms around the idea that those three conversations actually impact you in a really profound way. So if they can impact us in the adverse, why not put that to work for us to impact us affirmatively?
Yes.
You even made reference to it. I'm so grateful that you did that. The universe is paying attention. When you take time to recharge your batteries, the universe pays attention. You do end up tapping into incredibly, sometimes mysterious resources within you to create, attract, and manifest that which you desire. It's incredible. And so let's use that language to support you finding that place inside yourself where you do create what you desire. So does that make sense?
Oh, it makes tremendous sense to me and definitely to our friends who are watching over on our
Beautiful.
Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group. You're getting lots of hearts and likes. And
Oh, wonderful.
Wendy Lee says hi. Bonnie says good morning. And Marianne says, yes, my body listened to all my negativity years ago when I was so sick. So there are people who are really resonating, George, with what you're talking about.
Mm.
My question to you is, you say you see a lot of thousands of people who are coming in to be a part of your community and to be a part of your amazing energy. When we come in and contact with you, what's like the number one thing you wish we all could know? Like if you could just reach your arms out, George, and hug us all and just tell us, hey, this is the one thing you need to know, what would that be?
So can we go right to it? Can
We
we get right to
can.
the heart of the
That's
matter?
that's what this is about. Let's
I
do it.
appreciate it. What we like to say is that if and so what we talk about, this idea of embodying our divinity. Now, this isn't a religious conversation. This isn't a dogmatic conversation. This is an invitation for everyone to actually think about for a second and feel into why we're here and what we're doing here. And we do believe that we are here as infinite beings, embodying life as human beings for the time being. And so while that's happening, why wouldn't we explore the fullest expression of our divinity as humans? And in order to do that, what we say is we embody our divinity by embracing our humanness. And we do that on purpose, the divinity and humanness, because it is our humanness, the wounds and the traumas that we've experienced, the difficulties we've overcome, the relationships and the losses and the victories and all of the things we've learned and the wisdom we carry in ourselves. It is those things, our humanness, that really gives us the power and the knowledge and the inspiration to express our divinity. And that, I believe, is why we're here. I believe we're all here, and I believe the people watching and listening right now know that somewhere inside is a voice that, when it speaks truth, our whole body just knows it. Have you ever had that experience?
Oh, yes,
All the
absolutely.
time, right?
Yes.
And the big wins are often when we listen to that voice. And the thing is, it's a process to learn to discern between the human and the divine, between
Yes.
the fear and the inspiration. And we only do that. And this is the big thing in our community, is we only do that and learn to embrace the divinity when we stop judging and learn to embrace and love all the parts of our humanness. And that means forgiveness for the mistakes, and forgiveness for the trespasses, and forgiveness for even the really horrible stuff. You know what I mean? And then magic starts happening, real miracles. You know? So that's what we're into.
I'm right on board with this. You have a couple of comments over here. Bonnie says, my bad self-talk and the disease I felt gave me the disease of cancer. I changed so many conversations and I healed. Anish says, this is what I needed to hear today. Wendy Lee loves that when you said the fullest expression. I think she felt very embodied in that comment. I know when you said it, I felt chills too.
Oh,
Mina says
beautiful.
hi. So
I
just lots
mean,
of really great comments here. I want to latch on to this negative self-talk, this constant in our heads, this constant conversation that's going on in our heads. That is not the divine, but it's actually, like you're saying, the human, but it's not saying positive things to us. What can we
yeah.
do, George? How can we change that conversation?
So the first thing that I just want to share is that those voices, those things are the result of, so I like to say, we're not broken, we're conditioned.
Yes.
It's really important to recognize, I get chills just thinking about it, that when that voice isn't evil, that voice isn't some really dastardly version of us. It's just a conditioned version of us. It's a version of us that learned, for whatever reason, probably from people who actually had good intentions, that
True.
that was the way to communicate. I mean, right now we're big in the conversation. We have a program called BioMagical, which is really embracing the fact that we're not just biological creatures. We're pretty biomagical, and that this idea is that these conversations that are going on in our head were put there over time, over long periods of time, sometimes reinforced with real trauma, so that it gets in really deep into this amazing, complicated nervous system of ours. And so those conversations, what we say out loud, our body feels. And what our body feels, the universe hears. And so when we're talking negative self-talk, oh, I can't believe how stupid I am. I can't believe I didn't do that. I didn't do the work. I'm so undisciplined. How can I be such a dope? And all these things. Our body embodies that, and the universe takes note. The universe is there with his pad and pen, ready to take your order. What would you like today? Oh, more I'm a dope, more I'm not disciplined, more, etc. So when we catch ourselves, to answer your question, a long way around, when we catch ourselves having that conversation with ourselves, we have to remember that, oh, wait, first of all, don't judge myself for thinking it in the first place, because it was conditioned. It was put there by somebody else when I didn't have an opportunity to filter it out. Imagine if you're 4 years old, and some adult, somebody important to you, said, you're always in the way, right? Imagine, as a 4-year-old, had you had the wherewithal to say, I hear that that's your perspective, sir or madam, but I don't take that on as the truth. I'm here occupying my space as a divine being. I'm
I
here for
love
a big
this.
purpose. I'm going to shine my light and change the world. So right now I may be in your way, but you might just have to get used to it. Imagine if we were 4 years old and had the wherewithal to do that, right?
That's amazing. I love this. And you're talking about this, and the first thing that comes to mind is my children and how I really try to be very conscious about the conversations that I am having with them and the imprints that I am leaving on them. So
Yeah.
important.
Well, absolutely. I'm so grateful for you to say that because number one, all parents, and I was a single parent for 20 years, so I totally get that. And as a parent of a reflector, okay, so here, buckle up,
I
Doc, because
know.
here it comes. You have such a profound opportunity to now all children are special and important, and that we hold them in love and encourage them is absolutely, that is why we're here as parents. And I like to tell parents of reflectors that it's kind of a big deal
It
that the soul
is.
of a reflector chose you to raise them in this world. That's a big deal. So remember that. Like I got choked up just thinking about that. So
Yes.
yeah, that's a big deal. That says a lot about who you are.
I thank him often for choosing me. I really, really do. That just hit me right here in all the feels.
In all the feels. Good. Me too.
Awesome. Awesome. So I ask all our guests this question and, just rapid fire. What are the do's and don'ts for living this life in this environment that we find ourselves in right now? Where, in my opinion, we're kind of on the verge, we're kind of on the precipice of something amazing happening, but
Yeah.
we get to choose. What are the do's and don'ts? What are we supposed to be doing right now?
So the do's and don'ts. I'll start with the don'ts. The don'ts are don't believe something just because someone tells you. Find out for yourself. Find out what's true for you. Feel into it, explore it, experiment. For instance, when I say don't speak negatively of yourself, don't abuse yourself or criticize yourself for having a particular feeling in the first place. Don't pick on yourself because you have these programmed, conditioned behaviors. Do something about it. Do change your languaging and self-talk. Do practice. I'm going to share a thing we call the thank you body meditation or the BioMagical mantra. That is basically just very simple. I'll say it out loud, and we'll give people a free download. They can download it, biomagical.love. It goes something like this. Every cell, I'm so grateful that every cell, every tissue, every organ in my body functions in perfect, every system in my body functions in perfect synchronicity for my highest good in every moment of every day. With every beat of my heart, with every breath of my lungs, without a conscious thought given them, whether I'm working, resting, or playing. And so to don't keep that negative self-talk up, and do, when you catch yourself, replace it with something healthy and supportive and conscious and intentional. And it could be the BioMagical mantra for your physical well-being. We have them for all sorts of situations. When we travel, for instance, when we notice we get a little anxious about security or the airport or getting to the airport. When I'm on my way to the airport, sometimes I find myself, do you ever find yourself getting a little agitated about getting to somewhere? And when I do find myself doing that, I say to myself, I always travel in perfect safety and with ease and grace at all times. And there's so much psychology supporting this, doctor, so much psychology supporting, saying that that positive self-talk, not that it changes our reality, but it kind of changes our reality because it changes our state of being. And so I might still be rushing to the airport, but if I'm reminding myself that I always travel with ease and grace and in perfect safety at all times, then eventually it gets into, oh, that's true.
That's
Actually,
true.
that's true. I always travel with ease and grace and perfect safety at all times. Oh yeah, that's true. and I actually start to calm down and I make better decisions from that place.
Yes.
That's the key. It's not that it changes everything. When I was ill and when I first was diagnosed with a rare form of leukemia 17 years ago, I was in trouble. I was in deep trouble. I had no bone marrow. I had 20% of my functional blood in my body. I didn't know for 2 weeks, every night I went to bed, I didn't know I was going to wake up the next day. But I always said to myself, no matter what happens to my body, remember, my highest belief is that we're spiritual beings, divine, infinite beings, and experiencing life as embodied as human beings for the time being, right? And so with that as my foundational belief, not because somebody told me that, because I discovered it for myself, that's a do, right?
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying to myself, no matter what happens to my body, my soul will always be perfect. That gave me great peace. That gave me great, tremendous peace. Did I want to die? Of course I didn't want to die. Did I want to wake up the next day? Of course I did. Did I want to have another 100 years with my kids? Of course I did. But there are things we can control and there's things we can't control. And one of the things, two things we can always control, how we see the world and how we act in response to it.
Beautiful. So, so beautiful. I understand, little birdie told me that you have something new and exciting going on that you would be kind enough to share with us.
Would love to. Thank you, doctor. This languaging, this conversations that we have with ourselves are so profound. What we say, our body feels, what we feel, the universe hears, so important, not just in manifesting things we desire, money, experiences, love, relationships, not just all that, but actually our physical well-being as well. And so no matter what people are dealing with, a profound diagnosis that like was my case and has been, some people in our community have dealt with some pretty tremendous things, but in relationship, in calling in a relationship, in business, around the dinner table, talking to kids, all of it, our languaging, the way we communicate is so important now more than ever. And so what we have done is created this 6-week program called BioMagical. And the introductory experience has been recorded, it's in there, and there's 6 more weeks to go. And that's what we're inviting people to join us. And there's plenty of information online, and that's accessible at, may I share the
Sure,
link?
go right
Yeah,
ahead.
at getbiomagical.com. That's the information page. And we also have a free gift for our wonderful viewers and listeners to download that mantra that I shared about every cell, every tissue, every organ, every system, is totally for free. And that's at biomagical.love. And so biomagical is one word, BioMagical.love. And they can have that pretty little PDF to print and put on your desk. And what we
Awesome.
encourage people to do is to literally try this out. Just read it once and see if you feel different.
I just felt differently listening to you say it. So it's wonderful. I really do invite everybody to go ahead and take advantage of this very, very generous gift from George. And you're saying it's at biomagical.love.
Correct.
And then to check out your upcoming program, which I know each and every one of us can benefit from. It's going to be at BioMagical.
Getbiomagical.com.
Getbiomagical.com. Awesome. Final words, George. Anything that you want to make sure that if we take nothing else away from our conversation today, that we hang on to this? What's that?
That, in those moments when we're not really feeling great about ourselves, it's important to remember that we actually learned that we're not broken, we're conditioned, and that the awareness of that situation is the first step to healing it. The awareness gives you the opportunity to choose different language, different path, different decisions, different behaviors, and choosing it gives us an opportunity to commit. And that's where the real magic happens, when we get to see ourselves as worthy. And when we do that, the world gets better.
Awesome. I love it. I just want to share with you some of the love that is coming for you over in our Facebook
I'm
group.
feeling it.
Uh, and I invite you to take a left on the highway and head on over to our Ladies Power Lunch Facebook group and just engage with some of these wonderful comments that are here for you. Marianne says, I am source in the flesh, and they're a bunch of hearts and likes. And Wendy Lee says her 4-year-old self is digging this conversation.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
And
wonderful.
Mina says, I love that we can control how we see the world and how we act in the world. So true. And Bonnie says, can't change what we don't know. Exactly. This has been so amazing. George, you are always welcome to pop in on the show anytime. Just send me a text message and I'll basically open the door and
Beautiful.
welcome you
Yes.
in.
Thank you.
We also have a comment from Dawn. Thank you, Dawn. And Dawn says, such a gift to see and hear you, George. The energy and gifts you and Tracy bring to the world are a blessing. Perfect timing and reminders. Thank you. Hope to see you
Thank
both in
you.
Stowe or elsewhere soon.
Yes. So
Awesome.
Dawn, thank you so much. I received that. I'll pass that on to Tracy. I also just want to say, Dawn, you are a gift to this planet. Your creations are a gift to this planet. Just you keep
Yes.
doing that work. You're such a bright light. And it's uncanny. I'm actually drinking my coffee from my Stowe mug right now. Dawn will appreciate that. That's where we met. So that's wonderful. Thank you, Doctor. Appreciate you
Awesome.
creating this beautiful opportunity.
Thanks everybody for joining us today. And it's Friday and we're having the Friday celebrity party. So of course, George joined us today for our 11:30 at 1 o'clock, guys. Tune in and we are going to have yet another celebrity gracing us with her presence. Come on over at 1 and tune in to Nadine, and she's going to be talking about how we can really infuse what we believe in our marketing. So looking
Beautiful.
forward to that. That's going to be a really, really juicy conversation as well. Thank you, George, from the bottom of my heart. I
Oh, thank you,
truly
Doctor.
appreciate you being here.
Me
Thanks for
too.
joining us, Dawn, right here on the Zoom. And thanks to everybody over on Facebook. Love you guys, and I'll see you on the next show. Bye, everybody.